So I came up with a list. It's called Tips for a Better Life. These are my opinions. There are no studies behind this. These are just my life experience, which is not a lot, but still, I believe these 6 tips could actually help you. So, tip number one: figure out what you want. Now, this is very important, I believe, because figuring out what you want helps with tip number two, which is defining goals. I mean, if you do not know what it is that you want, then there is that you have no goal, and without any goal, what is it that you work towards? So it's basically, the metaphor here is that it's you traveling on a road, and the road leads to somewhere. If you have no destination in mind, you're actually traveling blind. So first things first, figure out what you want. Now, how do you figure out what you want? So the first thing is, what is it that I like? You ask yourself, what is it that you like? I mean, do you like sports? Do you like gaming? Do you like reading? Uh, how do you like engines or cars? You are the one who can answer that. What is it that I like? Now, question number two, which can help you figure out what you want, is what is it that I am good at? There's a lot of things that you like, but you're not necessarily good at. So I believe that these two need to overlap for it to be a good goal. Question number three is, what is it that I spend the most time doing? If you just simply audit your day or your month or your week, and you're really honest about it, then you'll figure out what is what do you spend the most time on. And you have to be honest here. It should be in a healthy activity. I mean, if uh, you're not productive an entire day, and there's something unproductive that you do the entire day, which has no potential of becoming productive, and I mean, that shouldn't be your answer. I mean, your answer should be, what is that I spend the most time doing? Maybe you like reading again. You like maybe even you like watching movies. Maybe you have a talent for making films and whatnot. And you're the one who's going to answer that. Now, tip two is tied in with tip one. Once you figure out what you want, you have to define goals. Now, once that you have figured out what is it that I want, goals can then uh, have two aspects to it. How will I get what I want, and what happens after I get it? These two questions are very important once you're formulating a goal. How will I get what I want? You have to set out a detailed plan that these are the things that I need to do in order to get to the destination that I want to get to. Now, the other question is, what happens after I get it? This is a very important question, because you need to ask yourself that what happens after I get it. Maybe then you can actually answer that, is it really what you want? I mean, does it make your life better? Are you more happier? I mean, is the others around you more happier? Is the world a better place? As cliche as that sound, you can actually make the world a better place. No doubt about it. Even an iota, but you can actually make the world a better place. Now, number three is ties in with Islamic philosophy. I would suggest to pray your namaz. Now, I would define namaz as calories for the soul. अगर आप नमाज पढ़ रहे हैं और 5 वक्त की नमाज नहीं, 2 वक्त, 3 वक्त, कुछ भी अल्लाह से आपका अगर रब्ता है, तो आई थिंक इट्स फंडामेंटल. आई थिंक you're at an advantage, you're at a distinctive advantage. I think अगर आप नमाज पढ़ें, you're emotionally more stable, you're spiritually more sound. I think you're happier, you're more in control of your inhibitions, of your temptations, of your anger. I think आपकी speech gets better, your decision making gets better. uh, Overall, I think just by praying 5 times a day, you become a much more rounded person. आपकी personality जो है, एक आपकी जो ज़ात है, it gets elevated to just another level. And I believe like nothing can elevate you the way namaz can. I mean, it does it so quickly. I mean, once you just pray once, you start to feel a difference in your decision making and in your thinking patterns and who you are, and you kinder to others, you kinder to yourself. I mean, you overall a better and much more well-rounded person. Tip number four: read like your life depended on it. I myself never liked to read. I believe I had some sort of an attention deficit disorder. I couldn't read. I hated sitting at one place, but I taught myself how to read. 5 pages, 3 pages, 1 pages, anything. I gradually built up the habit, and again, this ties in very well with namaz. It's such a spiritual thing to do. It increases your spirituality. It helps. It expands your horizons. It calms you down. It's a very fulfilling thing. I mean, you feel like you've actually done something exceptional once you have read something. You feel fulfilled. You feel more productive. And this is I wouldn't say it's a good point, but it significantly improves your social standing. अगर आप पाकिस्तान में या कहीं और भी हैं, तो अगर आप नमाज पढ़ रहे हैं और किताब पढ़ रहे हैं, so people actually give you a lot of credit. I mean, it seemed like a very good habit, and it certainly elevates your social standing. But I wouldn't do that. It's a very superficial reason, and I'm not. I'm second guessing this reason. I'll actually cut it out. I don't think it's a good enough reason. But I think reason number one, it will expand your horizons. This is the most important bit. Once you're reading and you're getting into the habits of reading, and honestly, it doesn't matter what you're reading. You can be reading politics, sociology, psychology. You can be reading novels, books on Islam, books on other religion, Christianity, Judaism. You choose your pick. Any book you read, it will expand your horizons because somebody has spent their entire lives and they've written a book for you of the knowledge they've gathered, and you can read that in like 5 days, 10 days, and if you're really good at it, in 2 or 3 days, or even a single day, all that knowledge somebody has accumulated over their lifetime, they've handed you down in a 300, 400 page book. You just simply sit down and read it. I mean, it just sounds so better. It's like a cheat code at life. Tip number 5 is organization and structure. Now, what do I mean by that? You have to be organized. Once you have set a goal and you've defined what that goal is, uh, and you've laid out in structure as well that how it is that you're going to achieve it, you actually have to sit down and do those things. Now, that's where a schedule comes in. If I say मैंने CSS के एग्ज़ाम्स देने और मैंने हफ़्ता 80 घंटे पढ़ना है, तो आई हैव टू ब्रेक इट डाउन इनटू वन सिंगल डे कि अगर हफ़्ता मैंने 80 घंटे पढ़ना है, so what is that? 12 hours a day. I'm just giving you an example. It's different for everybody. 12 hours a day, you have to make that schedule. Like you have to define when you wake up and when you go to sleep, and then you have to define other activities, and then you have to make a schedule that uh, this is the 4 hours I'll study, then I'll take a break, and then I'll study again, and whatever suits you. This is personal to you and your own. Uh, how hard you want to go at it, basically. But the power of schedule actually tells you what is it that you need to do right now, and schedule breaks things down to a very micro level. A goal is a very vague thing at times. A goal could be as big as I want to be successful. That's not a good goal, by the way, but still. But a schedule actually puts your inhibitions into action. And if you actually follow your schedule, and that you have to make it, a schedule shouldn't be. Dr. Peterson says that a schedule isn't something that should make your life difficult. It's something you have made it, and you have to follow it. Nobody else is going to follow it. So, yeah, make a schedule. And what goes in a schedule? Now, you can put a lot of things in a schedule, but one question you need to answer is, will this particular task help me achieve my goal? That's the lens or the framework you need to see every task that you do. Again, I'll give you the example of if I'm sitting in a CSS exam and I'm spending 6 hours a day studying, reading the newspaper. I mean, that's a stupid thing to do. I just need to spend 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and I have at reading a particular newspaper, and I have to be much more structured at it. And I have to make that schedule, and I have to be honest about what goes into that schedule. Now, tip number 6, understand that you do not control the outcomes, but how you respond to them. These 6 tips are, I mean, they're not structured really well. I would say number 3 and 4 are something related to spirituality. 1, 2, 3 is regarding goals and structures and how you achieve those goals. And number 6 is somewhere in between spirituality and structure. Now, understand that you do not control the outcomes, but how you respond to them. There's an ancient Greek philosophy called Stoicism, and Stoicism, the fathers of Stoicism, one of them, Seneca and Marcus Aurelius. There's also a quote in there. Seneca says he suffers more than necessary who suffers before it is necessary. You need to understand what you can and cannot control. There's certain things that are completely out of your control. Uh, I mean, death comes to us all. So disease comes to us randomly. I mean, uh, you can make a case that there are actions you do to make your body unhealthy. But I mean, cancer seems pretty random. It can happen to anybody. So that you need to understand that you do not control the outcomes, but how you respond to them. I mean, maybe your car is stolen, maybe your laptop's stolen, maybe you're in an accident and you've broken a bone or something. Now, you couldn't control the event. The event seemed random, and you were at the wrong place at the wrong time. But now you find yourself in a situation that you've never found yourself in, and it's a bad situation. Now, what defines you is how you respond to them. Now, okay, I have a broken bone, my car is stolen. I can't change that. What I can change is how I respond to them. And I suppose this is the biggest sign of maturity, and this is the biggest sign of also understanding Allah's design and Allah's plan. This is a very religious thing. You do not control the outcomes. Allah is who controls the outcomes. You are in a very reactive position. You're not proactive as a creature and the circumstances that we're in. You simply, I mean, you simply can respond to things, and how you respond to things is what defines you. These were my 6 tips for a better life. Again, these aren't पत्थर पे लकीर नहीं है ये. My opinion. I'm sure there are other people out there who have better opinions. This is my opinion. I hope some of these help you. I hope this improves your life. Thank you and assalamu alaikum.